Alright, welcome back to As We Are Guides, School of the Gifted. Now, I seen a title that says, how do you block these spiritual attacks? Because I don't think they really truly, I don't think the community understands exactly what is happening, why it is happening, from where, and from what that we are being blocked. This is a high-level cosmic conversation between me and the guides, and we pretty much conclude that people aren't seeing the bigger picture just yet. And so I wanted to make sure that I put this out there to say how to protect from the spiritual essence of psychic attack. Well, I'm working on that personally. I'm trying to consider and conceive all of the things. Generally speaking, of course, you want to stay healthy and do shit like that. I don't know. I mean, you want to... That's the whole point. I think right now what it takes to generally protect oneself is probably coming into communion with some type of organization or some type of group of beings or a cosmic intelligence or some way of finding identification, or finding communion, finding, fortifying is what I want to say, the relationship with the universe, the cosmos, and the goddamn great collective. The great collective all is very important that be the forefront of fertility, pretty much, in order to consider ourselves protected from any of these. We can't be protected. I don't think you would be protected from these energies. I think these energies are the energies of Earth, and we should become understanding, overstanding, and continue to be understanding of the experience with these energies. And knowing that some people utilize these energies for their gain, and we can detect that as well, and we can utilize the knowledge of knowing that other people may utilize these energies in order to promote other things and other agendas or whatever. And so that's pretty much the point from my perspective on this. Yeah, but I do think that there's a lot more sensibility gained in the mind when you have some sense of tribalism, some sense of hierarchy, some sense of you have to stand on something. I believe it's very hard for us to fight these psychological, spiritual, intellectual attacks from the spiritual, psychological world, from individual beings that are working with the devil, whether or not they uphold the devil's kingdom, whether or not they uphold the devil's, playpens or whatever they're upholding for the devil, or whether or not they're just continually stepping on God's. If they're stepping on God's, quote unquote, then that's a part of this discussion. And I don't think it gets any better for those guides under psychological attack, other than to say that you probably will be under psychological attack unless you are either able to utilize some of the attributes of the devil, which are greed, gluttoncy, chauvinism, goddamn idolization. These are things you need to do in order to be one with yourself and shield oneself from psychological attack, while yet and still needing to balance out and become able to be a guide and be able to give, wholeheartedly, be able to enjoy things thoroughly, be able to make new experiences, with nothing, quote unquote. All of these other things, the other attributes, the flip sides of those coins are needed to be exercised as well. So in terms of exercising some type of form of spiritual attack, or some type of blockage for these spiritual attacks, I would say these spiritual attacks really come from the fact that us beings on this particular level in this righteous now of the universal order are pretty much unguarded, because we don't protect each other in some sense, or we aren't able to exercise some great ability consciously together to house this idea of knowledge. So that being some form of utopia that we will highlight later in the channel and shit like that. But, and of course, tying us into all the other organizations that are all long-standing, but whatever. But pretty much this is pretty much saying that these psychological attacks aren't personal. They are from the devil. And since they are from the devil and you have understanding of them, then you have to do the things that characters do on Earth in order to become one with the attacker and the victim, in order to be a winner in some sense, in this great battle. And so that's my conclusion. And I'm working on this personally because it's quite hard to attune oneself to the frequency of the devil when you've tried to be so wholeheartedly, continually virtuous in God's righteous ways. But then you get attacked and you either get down, lay down, you know what I'm saying? So if you can't beat them, then you join them. So you know exactly what it is, and you ain't beating the devil. The devil is not beat. He exists. And here you are. Here I am. We're God's. Hopefully at this moment, continually acting as though we have the responsibility of God towards us and civilization and humanity and creation and the animals and the earth and the covenant. Things like that, even further off in the cosmos. It becomes a great responsibility. Battle is never won.